Back again, guys, with another review. Today is Wednesday, the 26th of August 2026, and we're going right into today's video. So, um, ended the day up $105 here, a green day, but a very small one. Still ways to go to get back into green, but I'm not so proud of my performance today. I could have done better. I took some trades that I didn't need to take, and the ones that I actually took, they could have played out better if I had been a little bit more patient and um a little bit more disciplined. So some of the trades that I took, I should have avoided, as well as some of the ones that I took, I should have been patient in holding them some more. So yeah, I took quite a few trades today. Um, I traded gold and I traded Nasdaq. I've been starting to double back into gold now because sometimes the moves aren't so clean on Nasdaq, especially during the time that I'm looking at the chart. So yeah, I started to really check out gold again. So right now, um, it's pushing up, and you can get trades both buys and sells. And these are the trades. I started the day down because I took some buys on Nasdaq at first, right here, and I lost like 220 on both of these trades. I managed to recover by taking another buy, and got stopped out on the runner that I left. But this didn't get me back totally green. I tried to sell gold early, and I got stopped out. I re-entered, and I closed when these trades flipped back to green, and that's how I ended up making a little bit of profit. But you know, these last trades that I took on gold, all of them could have made bank. All of them I could have made some decent money, but I ended up closing out too early, and that's what crippled me. A lot of times when I take these trades, I end up closing too early, and when I end up doing that, I cripple the trades. You know, cripple my profitability, because if you don't allow the profits to play out, then it's not it's not going to work in your favor. You're not going to let your edge play out, and it has been affecting me for quite some time now, because when you take the loss, you take the loss at your full risk, and then you close the trade less than your full risk. So right now, I need to work on that. I was a little bit aggressive and impulsive on the first two trades that I took, because I was at work and watching the charts from here, and I didn't want to jump in and market open. This is about 9:30 right here. So I waited for us to pull back, but I didn't even realize that we had tapped into this fair value gap right here. I didn't see it. I didn't see it because I was there setting up. I missed out on this part right here. We end up turning up, and I was trusting this candle, this up close candle, as a fair value gap, and I wanted to use it. So reacted from this one. I was using this order block here, this down close candle as a order block, but I was trying to be a little bit aggressive on the trades, thinking it's going to break out, especially after I entered after we week down here, and I was just trusting this is the week, and then we push up. But I should have set my stops below here. Down here is where I should have set my stops, because these entries aren't so bad. And I was just trying to catch the scalp here. Um, but I got stopped out twice, twice, and then we recovered. This one I didn't need to get stopped out, because as you see, we just get wicked out before it turned back. So looking at these tops right here, um if I should look from here to here is literally 30 points, and from here to here is maybe the same 30 points or a little bit more, so 40 points. That's a decent size top on Nasdaq, especially with catching these breakouts. It is very volatile during this little window here at 9:30, and you have to really be careful what you're doing. And after the 15-minute close right there, I end up re-entering, and I made bank, recover from the loss here. And if I had closed a little bit more, then I would have flipped back green completely. And I was going to add, because I took the trade here when we spiked up. I literally had my hand over the magic keys, ready to add here, and I would have made maybe about $400 or so, or maybe $800, and then I would have recovered from the loss and had some profit for the day. So yeah, um, end up left a runner because I expected us to run higher. Thought we would have run way higher, but I end up getting stopped out on the break and the retrace, going into the macro, and missed out on that expansion higher a little bit. I was off the chart here, but this macro at 950 to 1010 gave us a very nice sell off right here. So once we broke below here, this was a nice trade, but I wasn't looking at Nasdaq at that point in time because this expansion would have been very good. Nice trade, catching the reversal after the 930 spike. This would have been a very nice trade. Low risk, nice order block here. We had a change in the state of delivery. And any one of these entries inside of here would have been very good to enter in. Even down here, even though we kind of moving out of the macro from there, but it would have been a very nice trade to enter. But I mean, it is what it is. Missed out on that, and I didn't manage to get anything more on Nasdaq for the rest of the day. As a matter of fact, I didn't look at it. I switched to gold, and let me show you what I actually did on gold. So I was bearish on gold. I was looking for us to sell from this area right here. I was using this as a order block. This order block right here I was using to sell, but I was entering before because I was looking at the higher time frame and saying, yeah, we can reject from here. It's a nice little sell zone. So I ended up starting to sell here, starting to sell here. I don't remember how I entered. I don't remember what I did here, but I know I was trying to sell. So I took a sell here. I took another one here. This one spiked up and I got stopped out. I took another one here, adding into the trade. It went up against me and I added again up here. And I was saying if we close above this high, this 3 high, it would have been decent, and I would have had to close out. I was risking a little bit much on here, about $500, you know, and I ended up closing when we come back down, which was just ridiculous. Honestly, I should have held this trade. Even when we retraced back up into here, this was where I should have been added, but because I was already down for the day, so we came back into this fair value gap. I was loving this change in the state of delivery that we had right here. When we flipped that, I was loving it. But I really should have just held, you know. If I just held on to here, it would have been easily maybe a $1,500 day. Because with the kind of lot size that I was using, it was really good. I need to prep the magic keys and configure the settings to trade gold properly because I was using the manual lot size 2.25, which is a bit heavy on gold, especially if you don't know where you're setting your stops. So I missed out on that, and if I had caught it going down to the low of the day, then I would have made a decent trade. This would have been a great trade even to target this liquidity level down here. Very good trade right to down here. But it is what it is. Can't complain. I just have to reevaluate and come back. But this would have been a very nice trade to catch coming down here. And then we had a nice recovery after. Gold is a pair that you can scalp because it is very volatile. I knew I would have closed majority here because it's been bullish over the last couple of weeks or the last couple of days. But from that retrace, I knew I would have closed here once I see it trying to flip back up. But yeah, very good way how this play out. I didn't expect it to drop so much, but I should have done better because I even closed one of the trades red when if I just held it a little bit more. But it was right in the middle of work time, and I didn't want, I couldn't go break even because it didn't break out that far. So I couldn't go break even, and if I did, I would have been stopped out, at least on the first two positions. But I was already down for the day, and that is the reason why I end up just taking off the trade just to close the day, um, green. So those are the trades that I executed, and ended the day up $100. Now I think we had some news in the morning. I think some PCE or something came out at 8:30, which was right inside of here. Go back here, right inside of here where we spiked down. Um, I was watching this on my phone going to work, you know. So yeah, that was the main event for today. And then in the evening we have Nvidia earnings, and it caused a massive gap up. So we even gapped up on gold right here, and we gapped up also on the US 500 and the S&P 500. So this is about 150-point gap to where we open later, actually a 200-point gap, but this is a CFD, so it opened a little bit later. So I think it's about 150, 160-point gap that we did right there. So let me go over the higher time frame and show you what I had setting up coming into today. So starting from the 4-hour time frame and the daily time frame, this is how Nasdaq look. So this is the 4-hour. This is how the Nasdaq look. Um, we were we were green from yesterday, but we didn't take any highs or any lows. And today we didn't either. We didn't take any highs or any lows. And right now we gap up, taking out the previous high of the week and all of that. So we flipped the weekly candle back green, and we made a new high of the week from the gap up. But we closed extremely high here. Everybody was piling in before Nvidia's earnings. And this is where we open at the week. So it's been really a range week, because this is Monday, Tuesday, and today Wednesday. And honestly, from the way we open, I knew we would have flipped. I knew we would have flipped back green, but it's just the timing of those trades. The timing of those trades not so easy. It's not so easy to catch, because we open, and I should have gotten in from the Asia or the London session earlier last night, but I didn't manage to get in. So I missed out on all of that. So all of that push up I missed out on, and during the London session I wasn't up. New York session I missed out on the entry going down because we reverse, and then now later on in the day I would have caught a nice little buy, but I'm not able to trade that part. So pretty pretty bullish here. Pretty bullish here today on US 500. Pretty much the same thing. Pushing up, and we close at the highs inside there as well. But see, we have a huge gap up right there. On the daily, it looks like we might be turning back up. So unless we have a strong sell off tomorrow, but I think we're going to rally, especially going into tomorrow with Nvidia beating their earnings. So that's good for them. So we might be holding this fair value gap. We came a ways deep into this daily one, and into the weekly one. It's also very deep. We pass consequent encroachment, and then now see we want to turn back up. So we could be flipping back up and closing August green going into September. So that is how we look there. Gold, like I said, we kind of ranging out here. This looks like a bull flag, and we could be heading up from here. So we came down into this daily fair value gap here from today, and so we already gap up. But this week, we kind of started the week a little bit higher, so we might be holding those highs for a while before trying to break out, because I don't know if we make it back up here by the end of the week. It's only 2 days left. So that's goal. Oil, I think we had a sell off today. Well, we've been selling off since week, but we had a little recovery today, running the lows and then closing back green. So let us see what we get. Oil is just something that I track. I don't really trade it much, but that is how we've been performing. Looking now at the lower time frame, I think I'm going to go down to the 1 hour time frame. This looks like a nice sell right here. Nice sell area. We just we just missed this sell coming down after we gapped up, because I know unless we are extremely bullish, this thing has to form a wick. So I know we're going to trade back into this gap, maybe to about 50% before we try to continue back up. But today, not the cleanest of days, but still you could have made some money. So from the open right here, we sold, came down, recovered, traded back down again into this little demand level, and then now we rallied. This would have been the best area to enter, right here or right here. So last night I actually mapped out this trade and I should have gotten an entry, but I hesitated and missed, and I didn't want to chase it up. So I missed out on that. We consolidated majority of the London session, and this morning pre-market we took off on the news, then sold back off, and then push up back again. So yeah, that is the 1 hour. Going now down to the 15-minute time frame, and then we just quickly go over some of the entries that we could have participated in. So the 15-minute here looks a bit noisy, but the entry was inside of here. So this sell, you could have caught it, but we're selling from this new day opening gap. Came down into this other new day opening gap, as well as a demand here right here. And this was right where you got that entry. Nice change in the state of delivery inside a here, as well as some inversions and things. I could have found entries along here going up, but you would have been break even here if you didn't take any partials at the highs. London session was a mess. New York session choppy because we spiked up on the news, close here, and at 10 we end up coming right back down, and then now recovering here. So the best trade would have been from here, taking it up here, or later on in the day you could have caught this high and hold it. So yeah, that is how we did today through the time frames. Let me go to trading view quickly and show you where we could have capitalized on some of these moves. So um get all the way over here. So yeah, this was the entry around 10. This was the entry around 10. Coming into this demand area, this is a nice market maker buy model that I'm seeing right here. And I was on the chart, but by the time I got settled in, I missed out on the entry. Nice entry here, retesting this fair value gap, getting a change in the state of delivery here, another one here. I could have just entered and set a wider stop, but I didn't. And you would have caught maybe 150 plus points right here before we came back down. So throughout the Asian and throughout the London session, you wouldn't have caught much. I watched it play out all the way up to here. This was another entry right here, another one here. So these are my kind of entries. This one right here, this one right here, this one right here was a decent 5 minute fair value gap that we came into and held before pushing up. So this was a nice entry right here, pushing up and then now tapping off, and we just consolidate throughout London. So if you notice, all of London here, consolidation, all of it coming into the news at 8:30 we spike back down, and like I said, if you weren't break even or if you didn't get an entry all the way down here, then you would have been stopped out. But we did have We did have another similar entry pattern right over here. You could have entered on one of these inversions and are retesting of this fair value gap. But inside a year, I'm not on the charts. I'm just setting up right here, and then we spike up, sold back off, and here is where I fumbled. This should have been a clean buy for me. This should have been a green trade completely. And then now if I had waited, then you could have caught a sell inside of here. So this was a decent sell off right inside of here. Nice inversion to come lower. Um, nice inversion there. Or the silver bullet furthermore down into here would have been a nice silver bullet trade. And then now you could have caught the recovery later on here. So entry right here, entry right here, changing the state of delivery entry, retesting this as an order block, and then now catching this sell off. Recovery here from this fair value gap, you could have attempted there or here to catch this retracement and just call it a day there. Later on in the day, you could have found entries inside of this macro after lunch. This is around 1. You could have found an entry inside of here going back up into the rest of the PM session. So quite a few trades you could have mapped out inside of there. So yeah, decently in terms of the amount of opportunities, but you have to have a good read on the market to catch these. But that is where we leave things today. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for subscribing, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Peace.